go because you know what I came here to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
Often people critique boxers, and when they're critiquing, it's almost like they're oblivious that the boxer they're critiquing has an opponent who doesn't want to get knocked out, doesn't want to get embarrassed, and wants to win as well. You know, George Arias was 17-0 going into the fight. I'm assuming he has an amateur background and had a full camp to train for Jared Anderson, which you could see they had a full camp to train for Jared Anderson because the plan was to try and box Jared, give him angles, movement, and catch him with counters because Jared likes a fight. He'll get hit and he'll keep marching forward. So them punching opportunities, they will be there. Yeah, they'll be there. But remember, Jared's trying to hit you too. Right? And I've heard a few people talk about, oh, Jared's defense. Jared's defense is a bit shaky. Who are these fighters you guys are thinking of that never get hit in their career? Who are they? Jared came forward behind his big jab and threw his power shots. He's a little faster, a little more powerful than the average heavyweight out there. Boxers have to get themselves in a headspace where, okay, I'm going to get hit, but I'm not going to get hit that much. It's a calculated assessment. I'm going to get hit, but let's try not to get hit flush. And, you know, Jared took a couple. He took a couple left hooks, but nothing he couldn't handle. And he dismantled my guy. My guy was trying to do some dance in defiance before the canvas was removed from under his feet and was stopped in the interval after the third round. For the most part, Jared Anderson's spacing was on point. His jab was good. He cut the ring off. But look, his battles will be when somebody can actually throw a jab back at him consistently. That's when we'll see what he's made of. I have noticed that he throws his punches from a little far out at times. And that's because none of the opponents he's faced neither have the size, the speed, or the reach to do anything about it. If he starts lunging in when he moves up against the bigger heavyweights, then we're going to see how good he is offensively and defensively. Right now, he looks awesome. I think Arias was surprised how little, I should say, ring that he had to try and work for his openings. Like, Jared just cut the space down in him, man. Just cut the space down. Behind the jab. Good jab. Arias just basically had no room to work, and he's not used to that. Good win. Good win. Good win. What's next? Ranked number 11 by the WBC, WBA. The IBF have got nothing for him, but they've got Tony Yoka up there, but no Jared Anderson. That's the inconsistency in the rankings these days. It makes no sense at all. So Yoka loses his last two, and Jared Anderson can't get shit. He's ranked number 9 by the WBO is Jared, and he himself says he's looking for the top names. And what else would he be looking for? I think Bob should talk to Frank and set up a fight for Jared in the UK. This is where this is where the heavyweight stadium fights are. And it would be good for him to just, you know, pop over. Maybe just take a mark time fight or a significant fight. Either one. Because he has potential. He has the potential. He's got the arrogance and he can fight.
Says he is pumped for this fight. Says he believes Shakur has no power.
I'm trying to work out the psychology when he told Shakur he can't punch. Was he trying to get in Shakur's psyche? Or was he trying to rev himself up and tell himself that's an actual, tangible? I don't know. He challenged him on machismo, toughness, punch power. He said he was going to break Shakur mentally. Because they're the only avenues that, if he was going to have a chance, that's where he'd have to take it. Because he knew he couldn't outbox Shakur. So Shakur, he goes to 20-0 with 10 inside the distance after stopping Sachiro Yoshino in 6, who was 16-0 up until that point with 12 inside the limit. And Shakur actually tweeted back, "Y'all can't push y'all narrative on me. Oh, are you saying I can't punch?" And Shakur said that made him want to sit down on his punches even more. Yoshino said he's going to push Shakur mentally. See, these are the areas that Yoshino believed his opportunities were. Not skill. He admitted that Shakur on skill and speed is on another level, but he believed that he was mentally, physically stronger, that he could hit harder. He was more the caveman. And Shakur, in his opinion, would come up short in them categories, but he was so wrong. So wrong. So wrong. So wrong. Shakur's been a pro for 7 years now. Like, he showed the range control in the first round. The scary thing is the footwork. Like, it's almost like he's got Spider-Man radar. So unless you're really good, it's virtually impossible to hit him. Virtually impossible. And like I was saying before, who are these fighters who don't get hit? Well, Shakur, he can be hit. He can be hit, but now he's getting a good balance of offense and defense. And despite this guy being big, strong, coming off stoppage wins against Nakatani, and you can see, like, physically, Shakur walked into the arena with Terence Crawford. He looked the same size as Terence. It looks like he's targeting the winner of Haney and Lomachenko. That's going to be interesting. This will be very interesting. First round, range control. You know, Shakur was measuring him with that right hand, keeping a good distance between him. And second round, Yoshino just came forward, head down, swinging, and he couldn't see the backhands. Like, the backhands just kept tagging him, and then one put him over. Dominant round, and it just never got better for the guy. He wasn't hurt that bad. Yoshino, the taller man, was leaning into Shakur with his head down, and Shakur introduced the left uppercut. That landed. And don't ignore the body work either. Shakur was whipping these left hooks into the body, and one of them hurt Yoshino. Yoshino looked to the referee like to say that was low. No, it wasn't low. You're catching a beating. It wasn't low. You don't need brute force power if you can hit your opponent with punches they can't see. Shakur was actually a 140-pounder as an amateur. He turned pro as a welterweight, which doesn't shock me at all. Shakur appeared to be enjoying himself in there. He was really working this guy over. Really working this guy over. But the guy was trying to be aggressive, but Shakur was just working him over. And there was no escape. No escape. Body, head, defense, body, head, defense, body, head, defense. All the way through the round. All the way through. All the way through. And he wasn't running around the ring either. He met him head on and played the matador to his bull rushes, stepped around his shots. Often my guy would fall off balance and just tattooed him. Like Yoshino, he caught Shakur a few times in the third, but this is what I'm saying. Shakur is out punching him at least 5-1 or something like that. And the punches Yoshino is catching him are perfunctory at best. Like, he landed one right, Yoshino, and Shakur just put him back in his place with a 4 or 5 punch combination. Shakur, he brought that left uppercut into play because, you know, my man was leaning right over from the first round with his head down trying to steam in. So Shakur let him have that too. Credit due for Yoshino for marching forward and trying to make the best of it. Did land a few body shots, but he couldn't pin Shakur down the road. Shakur just spun off the ropes to his right, back to the ring center, back to work. All night. Dominated the ring center for the whole fight. No running. A left hook over the top and a right hook that Yoshino didn't see put him over again. This time he was hurt. Fourth round. You can see his eyes looked a little vacant. But like I said with the Japanese fighters, they're very, very tough and durable. The referee checked Yoshino over in the corner. Yoshino was basically falling over his feet to keep up with Shakur. Shakur obliged him with teed off, left uppercuts, right hooks, jabs. Yoshino tried so hard to land rights. He throwing and just missing and missing repeatedly. And then when he had no choice but to reset, he knew it was coming. A whole arsenal and assortment of punches were coming. At the end of the fifth, Yoshino went back to his corner and he stood up kind of looking around like he was trying to find his bearings, stretched his arms out onto the ropes, and it looked like resignation at that point. Once again, the doctor was in there asking him if he was okay, probably asking him how many fingers could you see here. He wasn't particularly busted up around the face, but he just took so many shots. They let him out for the sixth, and Shakur was now taunting his opponent. Looked like he was talking to him in there and sneering at him. A left uppercut landed, and Yoshino wasn't hurt too badly, but the referee said, nah, that's enough, man. You know what I mean? Stoppage in the sixth round for Shakur Stevenson. Good performance, but, you know, limited opponent. Very limited. Strong. He actually turned pro at welter, which doesn't shock me. He was a 140-pounder as an amateur, but he boiled down to 135 as a pro. And he looks like a welter in all truth. But, you know, better fights lay ahead for Shakur. That would be way more difficult than this one. Teddy Atlas. Also, as usual, Stevenson, not exciting but efficient. Hashtag Stevenson Yoshino. I don't watch Teddy's video channel no more. I stopped watching it a long time. Teddy, very jaded with boxing. It's almost kind of like him falling out with boxing has actually stripped his knowledge on how to give an accurate reflection of things. I mean, what did he want Stevenson to do in there? Stevenson held the ring center and dismantled his opponent and floored him twice. He's never been floored before. What is it you wanted him to do? When you say not exciting, what do you mean by that? That's how he sees it, and that's how he sees it. Maybe we should stop looking towards Teddy for thought-out analysis. But the fact he used to train Mike Tyson and grew up on that Costa school of boxing, people still expect more, even in 2023, you know. I think his love is with MMA now anyway, so it is what it is. KEYSHAWN Davis versus Anthony YIGIT. Very odd performance by YIGIT. He was screaming at Davis to hit him and hit him. The question is how much more did he want Davis to hit him? That started around the 5th or 6th round. KEYSHAWN basically had his way. YIGIT, probably a good gatekeeper right now. YIGIT, 26 wins, 10 decided distance, 3 losses now, 1 draw from Sweden. He's lost to the likes of Rolando Romero, Ivan Baranchyk, all by stoppage. 31 years of age. KEYSHAWN, 8-0, 6 decided distance. He basically stood in the pocket, blocked off the winging attempts by YIGIT, and struck back with quick responses that didn't need much backlift. Well disguised punches, good hand speed, good poise. Busted up YIGIT. It was quite a foul-tempered fight, I guess, from YIGIT's side a little more. He tried to lead with his head. There was one head clash which was pretty nasty. And people will say, oh, it wasn't deliberate. Well, I didn't see anything move but his head. If you're attacking, all what moves is your head. It looks deliberate to me. And then the referee cautioned him after leading with his head a few times too many. KEYSHAWN punished him pretty badly, and the body shots deflated him like a tire, literally. Very well placed rights and lefts to the body. I'm surprised the corner let YIGIT come back out for the 9th, and he followed up, unloading both hands. YIGIT spit out his gum shield, or he got it punched out of his mouth. And there was no need for it to carry on, and the referee stopped it. You look good, you look good, you look good. You did look good. Are they fast tracking him? He's fighting a decent level of opposition for someone who's only 8-0, has to be said. He beat up one Carlos Burgos last time out. One-sided fight. It used to be quite handy back in the day. Top rank. Have some very good fighters, you know. Jared Anderson, this kid here. Shakur. There's some very good fighters. DEVON. I tell you what, that Thomas MATTICE CESENA fight wasn't very popular with the fans. Like, they think it was premature. CESENA was ahead on the cards, but when he got hurt, he went Mexican style and tried to swing back rather than tie up. He didn't protect his lead. And they're saying premature stoppage. The referee gave him ample opportunity to fire back. There was at least 20 unanswered punches. Not all of them landed, but there was too many unanswered punches. And yes, it was the last round, but CESENA undone all his good work, if we're going to be honest. I thought MATTICE was always in the fight. I agree the Mexican was ahead with the aggression. The action threatened to get a little out of control at times, but it really came to life with the controversial stoppage. Controversial in many who witnessed its opinion, but I don't think it was the worst stoppage. It wasn't a Howard Foster. It could have carried on though. But you got to give MATTICE credit for rallying back on what looked like a lost cause and taking CESENA's O. Took his O. CESENA was 16-0, I believe. MATTICE was 21-3 with 16 inside the distance. Good win. We saw Raymond Ford outclass Jessie Magdaleno. He was a lot bigger than Jessie, who's more a natural super bantamweight. And although he outclassed him, floored him a couple of times, if we're going to talk about him getting to the elite level, should have perhaps finished him. But it was a very sound performance, and he's an improving fighter. How far he can go? Well, he gave himself a B+. He said he really wanted the stoppage. He landed a big left, which It was hard to tell if it was on the target area or on the side of the head in round 4. And Magdaleno went down in a delayed reaction. Maybe Ray should have went after him harder after that. I thought the fight was over in round 11. But Magdaleno struggled up. Couldn't compete with the speed, the size and the jab. He did his best. He finished on his feet after taking a big combination. And once again, you know, Ray looked like he could have stopped him, but he, you know, I don't know, maybe he was just comfortable in the gear he was fighting in and didn't want to get caught with anything stupid. I actually couldn't separate AKHMADALIEV and Marlon Tapales. I couldn't separate them at the end. AKHMADALIEV will be kicking himself if he didn't step it up earlier. And he lost his 2 belts. Split decision. 2 judges scored it narrowly for Tapales, and the one judge who did score for AKHMADALIEV had it very wide. Ridiculously wide, actually. See Eddie with a slow hand clap at the end. One of the things. I wonder if he's got any options on the winner. Not exactly a barn burner. 2 southpaws. Sometimes that matchup can cancel both fighters out. And I think that was a bit of a case here. Tapales was a little busier with his jab and moved a little better than AKHMADALIEV early on. Bam. Looks like he's hit a bit of a wall after that frenetic 2022. Got his jaw broke against Gonzalez, a tall opponent, who, if he can mature a little and sit down on his punches a bit, he could be a decent fighter. Gonzalez, not the biggest puncher. Was it a punch that broke his jaw? He did catch Bam coming in quite a bit. And unlike Jarek Anderson, who done a great job cutting off the ring, Bam, you know, never quite came to grips with the foot speed of Gonzalez. Bam could barely talk in the post-fight interview after, and he said he was finding it difficult to complete the interview, and Chris Mannix let him go off and get some attention to the broken jaw. Probably got hit a little too much, Bam, but, you know, against them long-arm fighters, you know, you got to take chances. He can't lay back and try to jab with him. He said he was feeling a little fatigued before he went in camp for his 3rd fight of last year against Israel Gonzalez. But to me, he still looks a little jaded. Is it the way Robert Garcia is training him? They say he broke his jaw around the 6th round. You got to give him credit because he kept a good poker face, was never in danger of losing. And he gritted through and won well, considering. The Sonny Edwards fight, that looks in doubt now. I think Eddie's trying to arrange Sonny Edwards versus Martinez. Bam will come back, and between him and Estrada, I know that's Superfly, they're going to try and fit it all together where we can get some competitive fights and the winner can jump up or jump down or whatever's required and we can get some good fights. But Jessie, he was the aggressor. He landed some good shots, but he was just never able to pin this kid on the ropes for any prolonged period and really get some damage done. The kid was just, you know, like off on his toes. He was off on his toes. If he didn't get his jaw broken, you would have said good workout perhaps. But after taking the world by storm after the Rongvasai victory, following up from the Cuadras victory, the momentum has slowed, especially with his broken jaw. Strange PBC card, like Frank Sanchez, 21-0 against Daniel Martz. Not a great opponent. I mean, everyone's knocked him over. But how are his fights getting buried into obscurity? Is someone actually just trying to sabotage this guy? Anyway, he got a 1st round knockout. I mean, I just saw it, and Daniel Martz, he went down from punches where I didn't see where the first 2 knockdowns were knockdowns. Like, the guy commentating, he's not the regular commentator. He looked like he was sitting at home in his sitting room. And the second knockdown, it landed on his forearm. He's the commentator. Great right by Sanchez. It landed on his forearm. And then to top it all off, it was totally out of sync with the action. It's kind of like one of them badly dubbed old school kung fu movies. Fix up, BBC. Poor production values. I know it's prelims, but you got to do better. And then he did take a big right in the last knockdown. But how are Carson, the commissioning Carson, sanctioning Daniel Martz to fight a ranked contender in 2023? How? Gabriel Maestre, he's only had 6 fights. Anyway, this is the same guy who fought Mikhail Fox and got a gift verdict for the WBA interim world welterweight title. He didn't keep hold of it. He didn't lose it in the ring. I think Stanionis has that belt now. He busted up Devon Alexander, floored him in the first with a left hook. And Devon done alright with the clinching and punching tactics. But he quit after round 3. It wasn't obvious from where I was watching that he looked severely hurt. But, you know, he's an aging fighter on the downslide. I mean, MAESTRE is 36 himself, but he's only had 6 fights. He doesn't have the wear and tear that Devon has. Devon just quit in the corner and that was that. Ever since the Aaron Martinez loss in 2015, it hasn't been the same Dev. It hasn't been the same Dev. Couldn't find the Chris Arreola fight anywhere. Barbershop Conversations were saying that Frank Sanchez got 25 grand for his fight against Daniel Martz. And there was a debate whether that's bullshit or not. I don't know if it was 25 grand, but how much do you think they're going to pay him for a sleeper position on the card against Daniel Martz? Probably not much more than 25 grand. How much do you think he got? 100 grand? He didn't get 100 grand for that. He was probably just grateful to get work. I mean, since the Ajagba fight, which was supposed to propel him into some more significant fights, who's he got? Christian Hammer and Carlos Negron and Daniel Martz. I don't know what he's got in his bank account from what he don't, but more than likely he's scraping by making a living with boxing right now. I caught highlights of the main event, and apparently Fundora only got 400 grand for getting knocked out by Brian Mendoza in the main event. Yeah, good left hook by Mendoza, good left hook. Followed up with a right hand and another left hand put him down. Fundora, 6'5.5", 147 pounder with an 18-inch reach. Basically fighting in the pocket with his 5'10" opponent with a 70-inch reach. It's absolute madness, man. Absolute madness. But, you know, he got away with it to a degree against Lubin. But tonight, Brian Mendoza starched him out and takes his interim 154-pound position. A strange PBC card, it has to be said. Strange. It looked like a pretty good fight up to the finish, though, between Mendoza and Fundora. It looked like a pretty good fight. Phone booth warfare.